Okay, so let's do modeling in 3ds Max. So first, let's go to our folder. So this is my reference folder, and then I need to see the details of these references. So let's set this to view, and then I'll just use details, and then in the details make sure that you have your dimensions added. If not, you can just right click and then you just choose here. Okay, if you're not showing, or if the dimensions detail is not showing, you just go on this tabs and then right click and choose more if it's not still not there, and then you just search it here. You can actually type in the initials of that, like DI, and then it goes. Just press OK and you'll see your objects, or sorry, your references size. Next, these numbers here, the first ones, they are always the width, and then the other one is either depth or length or height. But always remember that these first numbers here, these are your width. So this is the front, back, side. So what I'll do now is I'll just create planes within this size 722906. So that would mean here in the front view, I'll just right click there, I'll go to the create here, and then I'll choose plane, and then I'll just click and drag here, and then from here I can press Alt W. Right click to exit the plane creation, press Alt W so that I can maximize the scene or maximize that viewport size. Next is let's resize this plane here. So as I've said, I want it in 722 by 906. So that would mean I'll select this plane, or I'll press the letter Q and select that plane, and then I will just go to my modify panel here, and then let's say I will write here as ref underscore front. Let's do that, and then here are your sizes here. So let's just type in there 722 by here pala. The width is 722, and then the length is 906 as per our reference. 722, that's the width, 906 is the length in this case. Then let's remove also the, don't need those segments. Press 1, tab 1. So now we have this solid plane here. I'll press F3 and F4 so that it will be in solid view mode. I'll press W also, which will activate the transform tool or the move tool. And then down here in the UCS, or the user coordinate system, you can place it at the center of 3D space just by typing 0, tab 0, tab 0. So this means that the plane is at the center of the 3D space. Okay, so that's all that we need. And then the next thing is, of course, you need 4, because you have 4 because you have 4 references, so you need 4. I'll just hold shift and I'll drag this along the x-axis. Okay, so still the move tool is active, or here it is. Shift, click, drag here. That's it. Choose copy, and then let's say the number of copies that I need is 3. I already have 1. Then I'll just press OK. Now let's properly name this. So I'm panning now, pressing middle mouse and drag, that's pan. And then I will just, I know that the front is 722, the back is 721, so that means I'll select this, and then I'll just rename this to back here, back, and then it's going to be at 721, slight change, and then this one is very obvious. This is going to be the ref side 1. Let's just name it that way for now, side 0, 1. I'll copy it, and then I'll click here, and then I'll paste this side 0, 2. So now we have two sides, and I will just type in 404 on both of their widths, 404, and then here also 404. So that's it. So those are our plane or would-be plane references. So now that we have them, so the next thing to do is just simply I'll restore this, or I'll make my window folder or folder windows float a bit. Let's say that, resizing it. Alright, and then I'll just set this view to large icons so I can see it properly there. So now I can easily do this. I can select this, drag this to the front here, select this and drag this to the back reference here, and so on and so forth. It's as simple as that. Okay, then I can now close this. Okay, so since we have set the correct sizes, so the references are not appearing stretched, they are properly proportioned as per the images. Okay, next thing is let's go a little, or let's do a little positioning. So I'm here at the top view. So at the top view, I need you to drag it a bit higher, or drag it here, up here on this level. I'll just drag that there. So the reason for that is that so that we can see a grid, right? So because if it's at the 0 or at that direct 0 front there, you cannot see any grid references, because for now we need it. And I'll just drag it back here, there. Next is I will just drag this upwards so that I can see if the foot is resting on the ground line. So there's our ground line, so we need our references resting on the ground line. That's it. There. Then you're done. So the next thing to do now is let's position this. Okay, so to position this, I need to just have them all selected, and then I need them all at the x-axis, right? I want them all at the 0 or at the center of the x-axis. 0, enter. That's it. So all of them are now at the center of the x-axis. Okay, because what we will do next is we will start to position them, right, permanently. Okay, so first, so I will select the side 1 reference, so that's the side 1 reference, and then I will drag it where it is looking. So for example, if it is looking at the right of the screen, so drag it on to the right of the screen. And then I'll select the side 2 reference, and if it is looking at the left of the screen, then drag it on to the left of the screen. That's it. And then next is, of course, the back view. Now I'll go to the perspective here. Now when it comes to the back view, you will need to drag the back view forward. As per the perspective, you drag it along the y-axis forward. Okay, so just make sure there is no value on the x-axis there. Means it remains at the center. So now that we have that, the next thing that we will do now is we will we will start to position the front view at the center of the y-axis. So 0 that. Then that's it. Okay. So the next thing that we will do now is we will start to select this. I'll select this. I'll go to my rotate tool, and then I will press letter A for the angle snap, and then I'll just drag along here on this horizontal axis here, which is the blue one. See, it is blue when it's not selected. So if I drag over, that's the blue axis there. I'll just drag it, and I will drag it facing to the front like this. Alright, so drag it facing to the front or inwards until it reaches 90 degrees. So I'll just drag that again, 90 degrees there. Oops, sorry. Select that, drag 90 degrees there. Okay, next I'll do it again here. So dragging it inwards here onto the towards the front reference, so turning it there at 90 degrees. So there, now that it's at 90 degrees. Next is I'll press W for move tool, and then I will once more turn off the angle snap by pressing A. This time I'll press S to turn off the move snap or the 3D snap here. I'll right click that, and then I'll just go to my vertex snap or have it check. But to be sure, you can click clear all so that no other things are checked. Then you check the vertex and then the midpoint. Close this. So now this will allow you to select, and then this will allow you to snap at the middle. So as you can see, the midpoint is already being indicated here. And then as I click there, now when I drag, as you can see here, it's allowing me to drag onto that corner vertex. So now it's precisely positioned there. Oops, sorry. There. I'll do the same here at the side. I'll just once more hover, and then I'll drag here, there. Okay. So what I will do next is I will just select this front view reference, of course, and then the front view reference, I will just drag it backwards. Okay, so I'll just drag this backwards, but I will use the corner here. Right, the corner vertex here. The corner vertex. I'll drag it onto that vertex there. So now it is precisely at the back, but at the edge of those side views. I'll do the same with my back view here. But remember, the back view is 7:1 only, so it's less. So that's why there will be a small opening here, but it's fine. You can adjust that. I can just select it here, and then I'll just drag it onto that corner there. So now it is precisely at the corner, but what I'll do instead is here, I'll still type in 0 on the x-axis. There. So now we have them all properly positioned. Pressing S. So the next thing is I will just select all of the, no, not yet, I'm sorry. This back view, as you can see, I have dragged it onto the front. Yes, that's correct. Pero I need it to be facing the back there, the back view there. Because right now, as you can see, that's the front in our view cube. So it is facing that way. So what I'll do is I'll go to my back, or I'll rotate the view just like that, and it should be facing here. That's the back view. So what I'll do is I'll just switch to my E, or that's the rotate tool, and then after I have done that, I'll just go to my angle snap, and then I'll choose here 180 degrees there. W for move. That's it. Okay. Now I can just simply go here at the view cube. You have your home. You can click that so it resets back to its home view, and then you have this. So the next thing is, let's make this as a template. I'll select all of these objects here, and then I will just press the letter Q to switch to the selection tool. Then I will right click, go to my object properties, and I will check the following. So first off, I will check freeze. That means this will not be selected anymore. And then I will turn on back face cull. So that means that if a polygon is not facing the camera, it will be transparent or see-through. And of course, I will uncheck the show frozen in gray, so that it is frozen or freezed, it will not be in color gray. Then I'll just press OK. So now, as you can see, right, as the references are not facing the camera, they will be transparent or see-through. So this means we can now model at the center of the object. Of course, I'll save this file, save into my scene. Let's save this, for example, my modeling. Let's name it 00 ref set. That's it. So I'll see you in the next lesson.